Okay guys, welcome back. So for today's video, we're basically going to be doing my bronzer declutter. So there's no real intro, we're just going to dive right in. This right here is my bronzer drawer, but I do also have some of my pressed powders in here. But it's a little bit of a mess because there's not enough room, so I'm just going to go through and see what I'm keeping and what I'm getting rid of. So we first have this Physicians Formula bronzer. It's one of those like shimmery bronzers, almost like a body bronzer. And I don't really use this. Well, I've never used it actually. I've swatched it, but don't use it, so I'm going to get rid of this one. Then I have these two bronzers here, my Dior and my Fenty. The Fenty bronzer is one that I'm pretty much almost done with. I'm going to hold on to this for a little bit because I want to actually pan this completely. So this will stay. And the Dior bronzer is a really nice bronzer. I will say that I do think that it is on the pricey side. And this one is like a little too deep in my opinion, but the one right above it is too light. But I do like the formula of this, and you can I don't want to say share it out, but you can diffuse it so it's not as intense. So I'm going to go ahead and keep that one. This is one of my Becca bronzers. It's in the shade Ipina Sun. This is actually really, really nice as a bronzer. I just tried it for the first time like a couple of days ago. Really, really like this. I do have the deeper shade in it, which I use as a blush. Where is it? Ignore that drawer. So this is the deeper shade in it, and I use this one as a blush for the most part. So here we have these two shades. Definitely keeping this one as a bronzer, and I'm going to keep this one as well as a blush. Put this back. Okay. Now in here I have my pressed face powders, so I'm not going to touch any of these because that's what they are. Oh, this one however is a bronzer. This is from Pretty Vulgar. I picked this up at TJ Maxx. It's definitely not the right shade for me. It's way too light, and it's definitely more cool tone than I like my bronzers to be, so I'm going to get rid of this one. And yeah, these are all pressed powders. Oh. This is my Marc Jacobs bronzer. I think this is the shade Tantalize, and this is amazing. Like, it looks like it would be too light for me, but this actually works so well. This is definitely one of my favorite bronzers. I'm kind of mad that I did not pick up a backup of this because it's so good. And yeah, maybe I'll find it at TJ Maxx. Fingers crossed. Okay. Ms. Charlotte Tilbury. So I have two of the Charlotte Tilbury bronzers. I have it in number 3 and number 4. So this is number 3, this is number 4. I feel like you could really clearly see the jump in these two shades. This one is definitely more golden, more neutral. This one is way on the red side. I fall in between both of these, so I use both, and I kind of start with the deep one, then diffuse it out with this one, so that it's not as red and as harsh. Overall, because I feel like I don't have a perfect shade, I don't really like the Charlotte Tilbury bronzers, but these are hella expensive, so I'm going to keep both of these. Okay, so I have this e.l.f. bronzer. It's in the shade Constantly Bronze. I don't know why I have this. This just doesn't work for me. It's like really golden, way too light, so this is a definite declutter. I also have this La Roche bronzer that is way too cool toned for me and also way too light. So because it doesn't work for me, I'm going to declutter this one as well. And y'all know I love my bronzer. Okay, so here we have another Marc Jacobs bronzer. Well, this is actually the trio. It's from the Cafe collection. I picked this one up at TJ Maxx as well. So you do get the bronzer, highlighter, and blush. I think that this bronzer, which is supposed to be Tantalize, is actually lighter than the one that I have in the white packaging, which is kind of disappointing because I thought it would be the same one. But I still like this palette because I do like the blush in here, and I think the highlighter is nice. Marc Jacobs has one of the best highlighters in my opinion, so I'm just going to keep this for now. Okay, this glorious baby, my Tom Ford. Now, this is insanely expensive. This is over $100. I got this at the cosmetics company store, so I paid significantly less than the $100 for this. It is way too light for me, so I actually use this as a setting powder instead of a bronzer. But because of how expensive this was, I'm going to keep it and just continue to use it as a setting powder. Okay, let's go into this one. This is the Milk Makeup. It's actually a cream bronzer. It's in the shade Blaze. And I used this once. I did not like it. I did not love it. I honestly don't know how to use it. So I'm just gonna declutter this. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I just don't think that I know how to use it. So I'm gonna get rid of this one as well. These two are highlighters, so ignore them for now. I also have the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer. I don't remember what shade this is. Oh, it's Sunkissed. This is the shade Sunkissed. It's really nice, really rich. I do think that this blends out really easily, so... And because of how inexpensive this was, I'm going to keep it and see if I could use this to practice my cream bronzer technique, which is non-existent. Okay, let's go into... this Natasha Denona Bronze Cheek and Glow palette. Now, this is a pretty new purchase for me. I pretty much just picked this one up. Yeah, so I haven't touched it, haven't swatched it yet, so I'm definitely keeping this one until I've had a chance to actually use it. Ooh, my Cover FX bronzer. This I picked up during one of the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty sale. This is gorgeous. Like, this is the exact color that I like my bronzer to be. Not too red, not too neutral. It's like perfection, and it does have a shimmer side and a matte side, so you can decide if you want your bronzer to be more matte or more shimmery. And because of how versatile that is, I really love this. I'm gonna go ahead and keep this. This is like $30 something, but during the Ulta 21 sale you can get it for $19. Okay. Let's do some Drugstore. I don't have a ton of Drugstore bronzers, but I do have these two. I have this one from Morphe. It's the Glamour Bronze. The Glamour Bronze palette. This came out a while back. They've already repackaged this, so it comes in really nice black packaging now. But this used to be one of my favorite Holy Grail bronzers. You can see the divot in there. I used to dip into this every single day, and it's a really, really good bronzer. I'm definitely keeping this because I think that the formula in here is solid and honestly better than some of the high-end ones that I have. So, totally keeping. And the other one that I have is this Makeup Revolution one. It's in the shade medium. What I loved about this one was when it came out, Makeup Revolution had so many shades and they ran really, really deep. Like, I can't believe that this is medium. And this I like as well. It does lean more red than the Morphe one in my opinion, but it's not so red that it comes off looking harsh. So I'm going to keep this one as well because I think it performs amazingly, and I don't have a ton of Drugstore bronzers, so these will be my two Drugstore bronzers. Okay, oh Lord Jesus. So this is the Charlotte Tilbury Glowgasm palette. Now, I have so many mixed feelings about this because, like, these two shades on top here work really nice as kind of like blush toppers, highlighters. This contour shade at the bottom here, this would never actually work for me. And this bronze shade here is definitely not a bronzer for my complexion or people that are deeper. So, like, half of this palette works for me. This palette was like $75. So, I'm, like, torn whether or not I want to keep this. I do think I need to try it a little bit more. I've only used it, like, 2, maybe 3 times. So, I'm going to hold on to it for now and see if this is something that I want to keep or if it really is unnecessary and I should just sell it. Ooh, okay. I have another Tom Ford bronzer. This is the Tom Ford Duo. So, it does come with a... So it does come with a really deep shade and then a highlighter on top. And I don't like the bronzer. Like, this bronzer has a black undertone to it. So it actually kind of looks like you've been bruised. So you kind of have to figure out how to work with this. So because I'm still going to keep it though, because the highlighter is actually really, really good. It's a beautiful highlighter. So I'm going to keep it for the highlighter. And I feel like I could get some use out of the bronzer by mixing it in with some others, because it literally looks like black when you blend it out, which is not cute. I don't understand it. Maybe it's a contour. I don't know. Okay. This was a super random buy, but this is the KKW Powder Contour. So this is actually not a bronzer, it's a contour. I don't contour, so I don't know why I thought that this was a good purchase. But yeah, I tried it once. I don't think I fell in love with it because it is a contour, it definitely is a more gray. Yeah, it has a more gray undertone, but I feel like I need to try using this as a light contour first and then going in with a bronzer on top, because I only used this once by itself and it wasn't necessarily my favorite, so I will try this some more. Honestly, I don't think I'm decluttering anything else. Okay. Then we have my Nabla bronzer. This one is relatively new. You guys know I picked this up during the last Ulta 21 Days of Beauty sale. I actually picked up 2 shades. I returned the one that was directly above this because it was light and it just didn't work for me, so that went back to the store. This one I think is nice. Now with the bronzer, with the Nabla bronzer formula, however, it does have a more, almost like a putty-like texture. It's definitely not powdery. It's, I would say, like a cream to powder almost formula. And it's unique. I will say that all of my other bronzers tend to be very, very powdery. So I'm definitely keeping this. I need to play around with this a little bit more because you definitely need a denser brush to pick up the product in here to apply it to your face. So I think there's a little bit of a learning curve with it, but it's not horrible. Okay. Next, I have my ABH bronzer. This is in the shade Mahogany. I picked this up at TJ Maxx, and it was one of these bronzers. It was one of the bronzers that I was really interested in because there was a point when every single black YouTuber recommended the ABH bronzer in the shade Mahogany, and I was like, I need to get this. It is a nice bronzer, I will say that. Definitely on the powdery side, has a lot of kick up in the pan when you dip your brush into it, but it does give a nice bronze. It does lean a little bit more red, but I don't think that the red is unbearable or unworkable. So I actually like this. I will say that it is a solid formula. They've been better since this one came out, obviously, but it's really good still, so I'm keeping that. Then I have this Bare Minerals Invisible Bronze. This is in the shade Dark to Deep. This one I'm like torn on because I feel like it doesn't really show up well. I feel like this is a companion bronzer. Even though it looks really deep and rich in the pan, I don't think that it shows up really well on my skin. What I do like is that it does have a almost pearlescent, like pearlescent, I don't know which one. But it does have a slight shimmer to it. And I think that gives a really nice glow. It actually kind of reminds me looking at it in the pan of the Hourglass Ambient Finishing Powder. Like, I feel like that's what this reminds me a lot of. I don't think that it's horrible, but I don't think you can use it on its own. I think it's one of those bronzers that you have to pair on top of another bronzer for it to give that real nice, almost airbrushed finish. And I'm gonna keep that. Okay, only a couple of bronzers left. I don't have a huge bronzer collection. Well, I just showed you all like 10 plus bronzers, so let me not say that. Okay, so the next bronzers I want to show you guys is the Benefit Hoola bronzer. I hate the packaging on this so much. It's like the worst packaging I've ever seen, like ever. So I have 2 shades in this. I have Toasted and I have Caramel. Toasted is the deepest shade, so it's this really, really rich, deep shade that actually works really well on my complexion. It's very, very pigmented. And then I have Caramel, which is the shade right above it. Now this is way too light for me, so I think I'm actually gonna get rid of this one because it doesn't make sense. Like, I wish there was a shade in between these two because I think sometimes Toasted can be too deep for me. And kind of like with the Charlotte Tilbury, Oh my gosh, you see this packaging? Anyways, kind of like with the Charlotte Tilbury, what I like to do is go in with the deeper shade Toasted and then buff that out with caramel. But I feel like I shouldn't have to do that, especially considering the prices of these bronzers. It's just ridiculous that I have to have 2 shades. Ugh. Okay, maybe I'll hold on to this for a little bit longer. I picked this up during the Ulta 21 days sale, so I got it for half off. So I might just hold on to it a little bit longer and just give it another test run, and then maybe I'll get rid of it. So next I have this Smashbox bronzer. This is in the shade Deep Matte. This is a very, very new purchase for me. I picked this up at the cosmetics company store. It looks really light and it looks really gray in the pan, and it definitely is. I feel like it's more of a bronzer than it is it's more of a contour than it is a bronzer, but I love this. I love mixing this with the Bare Minerals bronzer that I just showed you guys, because this definitely leans more gray, more contourish. It does show up on me though, even though it looks like it light, it does show up on me. But because it does have that gray undertone, I find that when I mix these two together, I get the best results. So this gives me that kind of contoured look and that chiseled look, and then this adds that warmth back into the face. It's like the perfect combination. So I'm definitely keeping both of these. This was also a pretty new purchase for me this year. This is the Huda Glowish bronzer. This is in the shade number 5, Rich. This is a really, really nice bronzer. Brand new. I really like it. I'm going to keep this because it's good. It's a solid bronzer. So I have this Urban Decay Naked Skin contour palette thing. I've never actually used this. I feel like I need to pull this out and give it a try. And this is the deep, what is it? Yeah, so this is the medium deep palette. They do call it a contouring palette. Okay, so on the cream side, you get like that deep contour shade, you get some color correcting shades and some cream highlighting shades. And you pretty much get the same thing on like the powder side. I've never actually used this. I kind of want to give it one try before I get rid of it. So I'm going to hold on to it for now. But I don't think that it's going to be a product that I really, really want to keep. Okay, I have 2 last bronzers. Next is the Makeup by Mario. This was also a new purchase in 2021. This is an okay bronzer. I will say that I think the price is nice, considering that this is a more high-end brand. But overall, I don't think that this is a special bronzer. I think you could honestly go with like the Morphe or the Revlon. What is it called? Or the Makeup Revolution. Because the formula in this is nothing spectacular. And this has the most kick up I have ever seen. Does it give a nice bronze? Yes, but I feel like the kick up in the pan is a little bit of a downside for me. But overall, nice bronzer. The packaging is kind of basic though, so meh. And then the last bronzer that I have also comes in super basic packaging. This is the Chantecaille bronzer in the shade Jiao. I think it's Gao. I don't know. And the embossing in here is absolutely beautiful, but this is very gray, like very, very gray. So it's not one that I reach for all the time because it doesn't give me that warmth that I like. But I feel like this is another one that I could probably pair with the Bare Minerals and that it would work out really well. But yeah, so that's it. Those are all of my bronzers. So I'm not getting rid of a lot, and I kind of knew that going in. I actually really do like the bronzers that I have in my collection. And for the most part, if I don't like something, I will take it back to the store. I don't like to keep things in my collection just for the sake of having it in my collection. If I buy it and I try it and it doesn't work, it goes right back to the store. So I'm only getting rid of 2, 4, 6 bronzers. And that's pretty much it. Alright, if you liked this video, please go ahead and like. If you have not already done so, I'd absolutely love if you'd consider subscribing. And I will be back with another video, probably my eyeshadow declutter next. Yeah, thanks for watching. I love you guys. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!